Drink it in, man.
Deep left side carry on. Picks up a block at the 5, at the 2, at the 1 to the end zone. Touchdown, Detroit Lions.
Drink it in, man.
Get up, Stafford throws. It is end zone. Caught! Oh, baby, what a catch! Kenny Galladay, you're a freak! What a catch! Touchdown, Detroit Lions!
Cornbread! I love the Lions! Say it with me! I love the Lions!
Drink it in, man.
Detroit Koolaid, what is going on, everybody? We are back, and I got Grifka on the other end of the line. Grifka, you're on Twitter. You're back in the house. What is going on, buddy?
Oh, man, I'm so glad spring's finally here, man. I can actually go outside instead of just being held up in the house.
Man, it is crazy to have this snow going away. I'm seeing 50s on my weather forecast, but as we always say, Grifka on the Detroit Koolaid Cast, nobody's here to hear about the weather, how your driving to work was, or what's going on with your wife and kids. We're here to talk football, bro. So we got tons to talk about today. We've got some great discussion questions, and we're going to dive into some questions that we got from one of our listeners today, because the NFL is making crazy rule changes, Grifka, and we had some rule changes submissions from one of our listeners. We're going to kind of break all that down and have a bunch of fun today. You ready to do this?
Yeah, let's get this done.
Absolutely, man. So right off the top, news and notes, man, we got Malcolm Brown contract matched by the Los Angeles Rams, man. This is a big loss. I'm really bummed because I thought we were going to get to keep this guy. He was young. It was a good contract. I thought he was going to be a nice compliment. Grifka, what'd you think when you heard this, man?
Yeah, I was disappointed that we weren't able to keep him. But I guess that's one of the chances you take when you try to sign somebody, that is restricted. I think it just pretty much speaks to what the Rams really kind of think about Todd Gurley and his injury that he had last year, that Malcolm Brown will be there for him. So I think when they signed him, I was like, oh, this could be great. Like you said, nice compliment to carry on. But obviously the Rams put a lot of stock into him as well.
Yeah, I just want to speak 1 second on that Todd Gurley. Everyone is so scared that Todd Gurley has this knee tendonitis, and they act like he's the 8th best running back in football now, man. I think this guy's going to be fine. I think he's going to be a beast, but I understand keep Malcolm, his age, some of his size and upside. I mean, this is a big dude, like 225 pounds, over 6 feet. I mean, would have been nice to have, but hopefully they'll still find a good option at the running back. Next thing I had here, Grifka, Rashad Melvin getting signed by the Lions, brought in kind of a veteran corner. This guy was out in Oakland. He made probably around $6.5-7 million last year. The Lions were able to get him for 1 year, 3.5. What do you think about Melvin coming in here? Can he help us? And tell me why I shouldn't think of DJ Hayden.
DJ Hayden. I thought DJ Hayden was a good signing when they did that. But yeah, I was kind of getting the same vibe. Once again, it's another one of the former Patriots that played under Matt Pat, so he kind of knows him. Just read a couple different things about him that what people were saying, that he really didn't fit Oakland's scheme, and that I guess was it the Lions tried to get him last year as well, and they didn't get him. So I don't know. I sure hope he's not DJ Hayden, or like turns into another DJ Hayden, like you said. I mean, I think he's got to be better than Nevin Lawson, even though Oakland went and signed Nevin Lawson. So I guess it's kind of an even swap right there. So I'm hedging my bet that he's better than Nevin Lawson. But if they take somebody in the draft, I would be happy with that as well.
It's not an even swap, Grifka. And the reason I thought of DJ Hayden was he came from Oakland. We paid DJ Hayden 1 year, $5 million. He came in here, wasn't very good, left the next year. I'm really thinking, from what I've heard and hoping that Rashad Melvin is better. He's cheaper. We need another outside guy. So, I mean, if he could be the answer at 3.5 million, that'd be tremendous. But like you say, he's a bit older and he's been okay in the league, but not great. So, um, I don't mind him. So I think I said he wasn't that. What's that word, Grifka?
He wasn't that great.
But I think it's still a good signing by the team. So, I thought they need to get an outside corner, and they did that. So at a cheap price. So can't hate it. Now, Grifka, one of my favorite topics. Bobby Quinn and Matt Pat step into a podium. I mean, at the owners' meetings out there, I mean, we have Bobby Quinn at a podium talking about free agents. He's talking about general draft plans, how he's constructing the team, all these different nuances. And then you get Matt Pat at the breakfast table just holding court, as I said on Twitter, for over an hour with the media. Just personable, fun, insightful, intelligent. Man, I thought this was tremendous. Did you see this? You got any general thoughts about not only what they had to say, but just the overall vibe of the team? I mean, I thought it was very positive, and I like how Matt Pat opens up in the off season, where in the in season he can be a red ass and he can be real tight with info. But here he was the man. I thought it was great.
Yeah, I saw the Bobby Quinn one. I didn't see the Matt Pat one. Sorry about that.
Oh, gotta watch it.
Yeah, okay. The Bobby Quinn one. I like how he just kind of opened up about how he was spending money on the team, how they're planning on building the team is the big thing, and like you said, for another guy who doesn't give a whole lot of information during the year, it was just once again kind of nice to kind of see behind the curtain, see what his thoughts were. I guess that was the biggest thing.
Yeah, I just liked, I liked his style. The one thing I always worry about Bobby Quinn is there's some GMs in the league that are have this swag and this they used to play, or they have this aura about them. And Bob Quinn seems like a guy and a former scout, just kind of guy that's up there, knows his football. I always wonder how he recruits people and whatnot. And I think he was just, hey, they want to come to Detroit. They paid him accordingly, and they came here. I mean, I thought that was great to hear. He had a lot of other, insightful things about kind of like you said, building the team, maybe what they're looking for in the draft, what happened in the past in regards to tight ends and different positions. So I just thought he was calm, cool at the microphone, which was great. Gotta pull up the Matt Pat. I mean, Grifka is so funny. He's got the trimmed beard, the short hairdo, and he's just in the suit. And man, I don't know. There's just something about him where, like I said, in season he can be tough on the players. He cannot give out any information, all that type of stuff. But when it's this time of year, I mean, he was interested in every question. The funniest part when you watch it, every other question, he goes, yeah, it's a good question. And then he answers it. I hope when Dave Burkett asks questions, he doesn't go, that's a good question. I wish you'd just stonewall him. But other than that, he's really interested in what all the reporters have to say. He gives these awesome answers. And I get such a confident vibe that our coach, visually, when he wants to put on the poncho and the hat and the crazy beard, looks like that old football coach from high school that you love, that's just wants to talk ball and wants to be cool with you and wants to push you to be your best. And in the off season, he trims it up and looks like an executive sort of, and talks like a rocket scientist. I mean, it's incredible, this Clark Kent thing he's got going. But overall, I just thought, again, he reminded me he's super smart. He's got a plan for this team. He wants guys that are bought in or that are willing to buy in. They're willing to bring in players that they feel are hard workers, are smart guys, are versatile guys, and guys that can help this team win and win at a high level. So, I mean, try to watch it and not get fired up, because you can tell I'm fired up by what I saw, what I heard, and I know it's that time of year, but man, great stuff.
Yeah, okay, I'll find it.
I'll probably have to send it to you, Grifko. Make it easy on you. I know your tech skills aren't always up to snuff.
A couple times on my favorite website, the one where I get all my little hits that you tease me about. So I know it's on there. I can go find it there.
Lions 24/7, Grifka's go-to. And I got to call you out, Grifka. I know I got to keep this show moving, but I'm on to you, man. I know that your boy, your inside source, is a certain guy on ESPN. He's got black slick back hair. He's been doing the draft since, I don't know, the 60s. everything I heard from you the last few weeks is exactly what Mel Kiper is saying. So I think you need to maybe find a new source, buddy. Did I find your secret guy that calls you with all these tips, or what?
Oh no, it's actually Mel Kiper's friend, and Mel Kiper talks to this guy, and then this guy calls me, but I'm not allowed to give this guy's name, so.
Okay, well, he literally was saying similar things to you, and then I had to shout out the Big Hughes and say, oh my gosh, Mel Kiper just took Rock Ya-Sin at number 27 in his mock draft. If that happens, I'll never hear the end of it from Grifka.
Yeah,
so
he's not the only one that's got Rock Ya-Sin in the first round, okay? I just want to let you know that.
I know there's like multiple. I'm like, I just don't see it, but you may end up being right. But like I say, I like the player, but not in the first round. So anyway,
We'll pop on it, okay?
What's that?
We'll bet a pop on it.
All right. And once you can't find that link, I'll send it to your new Twitter, which is at Grifka DKC. If anybody wants to hit up Grifka and see what he's saying. He's trying to get in the Twitter game. He doesn't really know what it is, but he's checking it out. So that should be fun. So Grifka, that's our news and notes, man. You got anything else, or you want to keep this thing moving?
No, let's keep this moving because I'm interested in all these rule changes that that got sent in.
Yeah, man, it should be good. So I had a couple questions for you off the top, just kind of a couple discussion items before we get to those rule changes discussion that we'll have. Grifka, do you feel like Trey Flowers signing isn't getting enough love from the national and local media? I mean, I feel like we went out and we signed the top defensive player at a position of need, a guy that's young, he's a beast physically, he's smart, he's humble. He fits the scheme perfectly. You can move him all around our defense. And yeah, we paid him a bunch of money, but like it's just being swept under the rug. Oh yeah, by the way, they got Trey Flowers. Like any other year when you go out and get the youngest defensive player on a team that needs this guy, it'd be talked about. Like it's frustrating me. And you're the guy that gets frustrated by this kind of garbage, but I think this is a huge signing. Every day that I see it talked about, I saw Trey Flowers at the podium, like I think it's going to be absolutely tremendous for this franchise for years and years to come.
Yeah, I wouldn't say the local media as much as the national media, but I definitely feel your vibe on that. It seems like NFL Network, ESPN. I mean, yeah, they mentioned it, but it was after like all these other signings. Like both those stations are just like talking about Nick Foles like he's the second coming and talking about that. Oh, Jacksonville got him. It's just like, yeah, okay, it's Nick Foles. Yeah, he's got a Super Bowl. Okay, I got it. But I still don't, he's not that great. But I understand what you're saying. It's just like, this guy was like supposed to be a number one. It seems like if Oakland would have signed him along with Trent Brown, it would have been like, they would have been out, 4 people would have been out in Oakland talking to John Gruden, or if Dallas would have got him or something. Oh, they matched him up with Lawrence. So it's like, and it's something like that. Like it would have went crazy, but it's Detroit. Well, it's Detroit. Okay, nice job, Detroit. Way to sign him. Oh, you guys may have overpaid, but if some other team, Green Bay, would have thrown that type of money out, that's market value for him. Oh, it's only going to help him. That's just kind of the way I feel about it. But yeah, I'm definitely getting that vibe as well. That's just kind of like it's ho hum by everybody else. Like we signed, some schlep. So
Grifka, overall, you don't disagree with me.
I feel you. I agree with you. Okay.
Thank you. We got to get the bell in there, the Grifka bell, another classic that the people love every week. So, yeah, man, I don't know. I just think this guy's a monster, and I'm just so excited to see him in this defense. Next thing I had for you, Grifka, Rob Gronkowski, one of your favorites, right?
Yeah, of course.
A guy that I touted. I remember having a podcast with the Big Hughes when we started this show. One of our first shows, we had to the rumors were swirling about would the Lions go after Gronk, and we talked it all over. And I want to say Hughes was not so keen, and I was like, man, from a football perspective, he's exactly what we need. A tough guy, a guy that could put the ball in the paint, score touchdowns, and you needed a tight end, and he was only making like $10 million. We just got rid of Ebron for $8-9 million. I thought it made a lot of sense. That trade falls through. We don't get him. He has a really rough year, injuries again. Shows up big though in the playoffs and then retires. So could we trade with the Pats in this draft? And could the Pats maybe want to move all the way up to 8 and possibly get the next Gronk in TJ Hawkinson?
If I was the Lions GM, would I make that trade? Yes.
Yeah, would the Pats is that even in your thought process at all, or is that a no-go?
No, I mean, yeah, with the Pats, if they want it, I mean, those teams seem to do some wheeling and dealing simply because they know each other. Bob Quinn is comfortable with them, but if the Pats were willing to do that, I mean, I'm not going to do it for like a song, just here, we'll give you our pick and, some 7th rounder, please trade with us. I mean, it's got to still be worthwhile. But if that's something the Pats are interested in doing, I would definitely listen, because down at that position, you may be in position to get my boy Rock Yassin if the Oakland Raiders haven't already taken him.
No, we definitely be picking up, like, I think their 2nd round pick is like in the 50s, the mid 50s. So you definitely be getting that. But I don't see this happening. I mean, I think a move up from 32 to 8 to get a tight end isn't something New England would do. Now, if the Lions are able to move back from 8 into the middle parts of the rounds, TJ Hawkinson is there. Pats can move up 10, 15 spots. We can move down and take a 2nd and maybe a future pick from them that's in the mid rounds. I think that'd be something to consider. I only think it can happen with a move down for lots of different reasons. So it's intriguing, but I think the Pats will probably, when all is well, they'll either sit there and take maybe like a Fant or an Irv Smith if that's what they want to do, or they'll move out of the round. And I don't know. I don't know what the Lions are going to do, if they're going to pick or they're going to trade back, but I'm super excited to find out. And we're less than 30 days away, Grifka. You know that?
Yeah, it's getting exciting.
Yeah, man, it's going to be awesome. So last little discussion item before we get to these unique rule changes and discuss those and have some fun. Came out, Grifka, that Snacks, he's looking for a little extension. He's looking for a little more money. He wants to stay in the D. Are you interested in this? Talk through the pros, the cons. If you're the GM, I mean, are you looking to extend Snacks now? Or what's your thought process when you heard this week?
Yeah, this guy, once again, I'm going to pull my Derek right here. As long as the money's right, I mean, you're going to get what? You're not going to give him Ndamukong Suh money or anything like that. But this is one guy, once again, if the money's right, and he's been productive anywhere he's went. And I don't think this guy's on the downside of his career. So, I mean, yeah, if you want to up him for another, 3-4 years, I mean, that would be something definitely that would be worthwhile, especially a guy that says he wants to stay here. Once again, me, pulling what I usually say, is he just saying that to endear himself to the fans, or does he actually want to stay here in Detroit because he likes the coach, he likes the style of the defense that is run here? So that's something definitely, if he's interested, that's just not, speak to get more money and then you kind of show up, take plays off here, pull a Sean Rodgers, you get paid and then show up, 1 out of every 4 plays. So, yeah, if I would definitely be interested in doing that. But once again, the length of the contract and the money would have to be right.
All right, so this is where I got to crack on you, Grifka, because I don't know if you've done your research, or I wouldn't trust you as my GM, but I love Snacks. Let's get that out of the way first. He's been incredible here. I love it that he loves it here and he wants to stay. I don't buy this as some kind of lip service or whatnot. I think that it's genuine. But when you do look at the full picture, Grifka, not, hey, Antonio Brown, we should get him, he's a good receiver. Snacks is 32 years old. We have him for, I think, 2 more seasons at a really good number. I think it's 6-7 million, then moves up to 10-12 million, something like that. I think, I want to talk to him this offseason and see, but we're not giving him 3-4 more years. I mean, what do you want this guy at a DT at 36, 37 years old? I mean, we tack another year at some good money, or maybe 2 years if we can bring the number down. That's what I would consider. But I mean, 3-4 years, you're getting yourself in trouble there in regards to age, production, and who knows what they're going to do in this draft. Like, they might bring in his predecessor. So a young guy plus him for 2 more years would be perfect too. So again, I love the player, I love his production, but I'm pretty much set just to stay where he's at, and maybe give him some more incentives or give him a little love on the back end for a 1-year extension, but I wouldn't do much more than that.
Okay.
So, sounds good, man. So, Grifka, we've done news and notes. We've talked about some items. There's just so much going on leading up to this draft. We talked about free agency. We've talked about the draft. I thought we'd take a little pause today because there's something that's frustrating me, Grifka, and I don't want to go on a mini rant here. But I feel like the NFL, anytime something goes wrong, they go into this mode. Like, you ever been in a fantasy league and like one little thing goes wrong and the commish is just like, oh, I'm going to change the rules all of a sudden because one instance didn't go their way or didn't go perfectly. Instead of looking at the big picture, not looking at overall what's best for all types of circumstances. Like, I think the NFL does this, man. They get heat from fans and media, and they're just like, oh, we'll look at that. And they make these odd changes, I think, at times. And, we won't go into this one in depth a ton, but, I mean, you saw just in the last day or so, they just decided all of a sudden, oh, hey, you can challenge any PI, any pass interference, either called or uncalled. Like, I mean, I just think that's an odd all of a sudden rule change, as well as opening things up for one type of penalty. It just seems very short-sighted and odd to me. What did you think about that rule change before we get into our segment here?
I think you're just pretty much open up a can of worms is all you're doing. It's like anytime late in the game, if it's close, if a team needs to drive, you either tie or win the game, fourth and whatever, and they're obviously going to be passing the ball. It's going to be like, there was a pass interference there, and it's kind of like, okay, we got to look at it, and then it could be like one of those things where it just kind of opens that can of worms, and yeah, it could be ticky-tack, and we've seen plenty of ticky-tack, but then they're just going to do like they do with other things now, slow it down where it looks worse in when in slow motion than it does in real time. Now, don't get me wrong, but they keep showing the New Orleans game was so blatant, but not pass interferences aren't that. How many do we see? We're like, gosh, that was so weak. And yeah, technically it is, but that's like, let them play. I think you're just opening that can of worms right there, which is not a good thing.
And my thing with it is, like, okay, so you opened it up for pass interference. Now, Grifka, I know you like to reference the archives and tell people to go back to listen to previous shows. Now, last week I thought you listened to our previous shows, but I could tell maybe you're sleeping sometimes. But on a previous show, I broke down my thing, what I would do, and I would open it up for everything, but I would only open it up with a challenge flag. You only get 2 per game. I guess 3 if you win both, maybe, but that's it. And none of this, like, last 2 minutes will review every pass interference or every, I guess I don't know all the details about this new rule, but if you're opening it up for anything under 2 minutes is automatically reviewable. I hate that. If you're opening it up for, like you said, late in the game, fourth, we're going to throw a Hail Mary and we'll just throw a challenge flag because maybe there was something you can see in slow-mo. I hate that. So lots of things to hate about it. I mean, and then my biggest beef is like, okay, what if it's not pass interference? What if it's a some other type of penalty? I know they review all turnovers, but I think if you're going to do this radical change, it had to be for more things than just pass interference, because we know as Lions fans, we've been beat by, remember the Texans game, is he down or not down? And because they didn't blow the whistle, like, it couldn't be reviewed. Like, what about that? That happens in the last 4 minutes of a football game, and it's still unreviewable, right? Just because they didn't blow the whistle, or they did blow the whistle. I mean, the Calvin catch, that wouldn't come back, right? Because it's not a pass interference, just a missed call on a drop ball. So I don't know, lots of issues with it. You feel me?
Yeah, it's one of those things that I guess when the squeaky wheel got the grease. I mean, Lions get jobbed in Dallas in a playoff game, and all they get is a letter, and Dean Blandino saying, "No, I really love Detroit," and made right potato chips and Faggo Pop. But, New Orleans gets, you're just going to win to the Super Bowl. You jobbed us. Okay, we'll change the rule for you. Whatever.
Oh, man. Good stuff. So we'll see how it all shakes out. But what we want to talk about here to kind of end the show, Grifka, is a guy, he followed us right when we started this show. He gave us a great review on iTunes, I believe. He's been, chatting it up, Lions with me on Twitter and other avenues. Paul Jackson, man, at Paul MJ. Wait, let me get that right. At Paul M Jackson9 on Twitter. This guy's a great Lions fan. I told him I'd shout him out on the show. I was chatting with him. I said, hey, man, send us some things for the show. And he sent me 14 kind of rule changes or thoughts that since the NFL was tweaking everything, he thought he'd throw these out. How about we sort of rapid fire these, Grifka? I'll read them off sort of. We'll give our quick takes and keep these moving. I think these are pretty interesting and things to think about.
Yeah, let's these I've been glancing at these. These seem kind of interesting.
All right, so real quick before dive into them again, Paul Jackson, really appreciate it. Thank you for supporting the show. If anybody wants to reach out or follow him on Twitter at Paul M. Jackson9. So Grifka, this first one, he put, add a second bye week and have the teams playing on Thursday always come off a bye, both for player safety and just to make that schedule a little better. What do you think about that one?
I don't like it. 2 bye weeks is a lot. I know when I was younger they had that, and it just seemed there was points in the schedule where it was really not entertaining games because it just kind of worked out that way. But I'm not in favor of 2 bye weeks.
All right. Well, hey, Paul, this might become a trend, but Grifka is always a little negative on stuff, and I always bang on him. I don't mind this. I mean, I think that, they're talking about always maybe extending the year, adding some games. I don't know what adding a second bye week would do negative other than maybe get some of your players more healthy, let the players mentally feel better because they're getting a second bye week. And, people are going to watch football regardless. They're still going to be
before. They did that before and fans didn't like it. That's why they got rid of it.
Yeah, but we're here in 2019, Grifko, where they might add games or where they might it's more physical in some ways on the body. So you're throwing the players a bone by giving them a second bye week. I would think.
Like in the 50s, man. This was like in the 90s when this happened. Wasn't that long ago.
Yeah, but it's a different ball game, and you're coming up to the bargaining thing. So this could be something. Hey, a second bye week, let you get yourself together. And teams, I think, would like it. Let them resort a couple different times if you spread it out correctly. But I could see where there'd be troubles, but I don't mind it. Let's keep it moving. The second one, it says, add a 17th interconference rivalry game. The two teams can have the option of having it on a neutral site field, i.e. the Lions versus Browns at the Big House. Or some of these other games at different stadiums where you're kind of taking, where we used to play the Buccaneers a lot, or maybe playing the Jaguars down in a different type of stadium. I'll give my quick take on it. I mean, I don't mind switching up the schedule where you create some other rivalries, but I know NFL cities aren't going to want to give away a game, even if you're moving it to the Big House. Like Ford Field's never going to go for that. I kind of like the overall concept of having a huge mega game at maybe a different stadium once or twice a year. That's kind of what they do by going over to, do the Euro games. But I don't think you can get away with moving games out of NFL stadiums here throughout the year. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm with you on that. And the biggest thing is also, I think they've tried that before at one point, like Green Bay was going to play a game at University of Wisconsin in Madison, and you can't have beer on the campus. So
right.
That was one of those hurdles that like the NFL and the team was trying to get over, and they ultimately decided not to do it, and they just ended up playing like the game in Milwaukee or something like that. Something was going on at the stadium, and that's why they were going to do that. So, I mean, that's kind of one thing also that could be a hang-up. And like you said, I can't see some stadiums. I know Jacksonville's all for it. They love playing that game over in London. They play over in London one game every year. But
right.
I can't see the Cowboys, Jerry World saying, hey, yeah, we'll give up one of our games to go play at, College Station or Austin or something like that. So it's nice in concept, but I don't think it would fly.
Yeah, I'm with you. So this next one I love, Griff. I absolutely love it. Reduce the preseason from 4 games to 2, and also expand the rosters from 53 up to 55, and active game day players from 46 all the way up to 50. I mean, I think he nails it on all 3 of these. Get rid of those junk preseason games, expand these rosters so that we can have more developmental players, more room for injury. Absolutely love it.
Yeah, I'm with you on that as well. I mean, this would be a great thing. I don't know if you'd have to start training camp a little later as opposed to like it was at the beginning of August. If you're going to start it like middle of August, so you only have a couple games. But I'm with him on this. I love this idea.
Absolutely. This next one, since the rivalry game can make schedules unbalanced, add a seventh playoff team to each conference. Only the number one seeds get buys. What do you think of that, Grifka?
I don't think that's a bad idea. I mean, I could be all for it, but I know people always cry that it cheapens the regular season more. We don't want to like the NBA where all these teams make it. Is that seventh team really going to have a chance? But I think with the parity in the NFL, adding a seventh team I don't think it's a bad idea at all.
Yeah. Hey, Paul Jackson, I know I said I'd shout you out, but I also give Grifka beef, so I got to give you some on this one. Inside this question, you're already assuming that we went along with your rivalry game, which me and Grifka both ixnayed, so sorry, bro. But I do like the seventh playoff team. Anytime you can get more people in the dance, I always would like to consider that, as long as you're not watering it down. The number one seeds getting the bye where other division winners having to play, and other playoff teams having to play and not so many just bye weeks, hey, 1 or 2 games and you're in the Super Bowl. I'm for that. So had to bang on you a little bit, but I do overall like it. Next thing he wrote is I like this one too. Division champs guarantees you a playoff berth, but not a home game. Ooh, I like that one.
Yeah, I like that as well. And I know they're always like, well, if you win your division, you should have the home game. But sometimes you play in a weak division. If you're 8-8, you shouldn't be hosting a playoff game.
Because if you're 8-8, you wouldn't be what, Grifka?
Any good? You wouldn't be that great.
Thank you. Yeah, I don't know. The Lions, like we've been begging, just saying, just win the division so we can get a home playoff game at Ford Field. But I think, like you said, if the best team should get those home playoff games, and other teams, even if they win their division, have to go on the road. I don't think it'd be a huge deal. The next one he has is he wants only kickoffs to start the game and the second half. Otherwise, put the ball in the 20 after another team scores a touchdown, and the 30 if they make a field goal. He says this would encourage more going for it on fourth downs and other stuff like that. That's a multi-layered one. How does that strike you right off the get-go?
I kind of like that idea of starting at the 30 after a field goal. You're right. I mean, it would do that. And you've mentioned it before. It's like it seems like there's so many more touchbacks than anything, and there seems to be a lot of that special teams are leaving the game, and especially with them talking about that. But I really like that idea. If you get a field goal starting at the 30, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, man. I think we got to get this Paul Jackson working for the XFL and Vince McMahon, or wait, hold on, the XFL. Or something, because I mean, some of these really have some merit. I do like it. I don't want to totally turn the NFL upside down because it's a great game, and I don't like too many gimmicks except the Grifka catchphrases. But I do like some of these not being gimmicks, but just being nice little tweaks. I mean, they want to do player safety, so he's putting the ball down most of the time, and then he's still having 2 kickoffs if you do have a great returner, or so that's not totally taken out of the game. So I like where he's heading there. Let's read the last few of these here. So we've got he wants a ref in the booth similar to the AAF for egregious missed calls. I mean, first of all, Grifka, we've never had any of those with the Lions, right? No. And secondly, don't you think a ref in the booth would just fix everything?
Yeah, I think it's kind of like the same thing. The egregious missed call. I mean, I don't know. I'm not for that. I mean, I don't like that one.
Now, I haven't watched much AAF, to be honest. Like, they kind of lost me. It just didn't seem like great football, and I just haven't been watching too much. There's some good things, but I haven't been watching. But what I did see is they do have this ref in the booth that, is seeing what the fans see. And somebody brought that up at the owners' meeting, saying, like, there's something different about seeing what we see versus these refs being, getting kind of a different viewpoint, and whatnot. So I think somebody up in the booth could be handy, but what's an egregious call? What's not? I mean, I think there's always going to be human error and issues there, no matter how you cut it. So, Paul, I don't mind it. Griffith, of course, hates it. I'll give him a bell just for that. But I think it's another one that they'll probably move to, is maybe some type of ref review up top, as well as on the field and in New York. So we'll see what they do. No more automatic first downs on defensive penalties, specifically defensive holding. Oh my, I didn't get a chance to go through all these. That's another one I'm interested in because, man, when it helps your team, it's great. But some of these little tic-tac holdings that are getting people first downs on 3rd and 15s, 3rd and 20s, is real frustrating. So I like the thought process. I don't know how it impacts everything else, but I think the refs just need to let these guys play a little bit more and not give away first downs on somebody breathing on somebody. Any thoughts, Griffin, while you keep this moving?
Yeah, I'm with you on that. If it's ends up being a first down because it's like 3rd and 4 and it's 5-yard penalty, fine. I can live with that. But you're right, those like 3rd and 18s and the slot guy was coming out of his break in the slot corner and, touched him, so they called it and he gets a first down. I'm with you on that. I think that's more egregious than missing some calls right there.
Yeah. So you basically agree with me twice.
Exactly.
The only thing you counter is then they'll just hold every long play. And no, I don't think so. I don't think they would do that. So he's got here max 25 yards for defensive pass interference and half the distance for pass interference in the end zone. So again, another one I sort of like because these 50-yard bombs, you're getting 50 free yards on some of these cheap calls. The college rule is 15 or something like that. He's kind of going over that, which I like, giving him 25 yards max, not on any play, but if it's a 40-yard bomb, 25 yards would be on a pass interference, and then he's given half the distance if you're throwing one deep into the end zone. From over the 50 would get you more than 25. So I don't mind that at all.
Yeah, that one, I like that one as well. You're right. Some of those long bombs where it's kind of another tiki-tack thing because, yeah, I like this one as well, the 25. It's a good thought process. I'm all for this one.
Yeah, man, we're agreeing with Paul here, and I think he's onto something. But man, we can't change every rule. But these are interesting. So only a couple more here. This one we should be quick on. Change a 10-second runoff to only 5 seconds. My quick opinion, this barely ever happens. It doesn't really impact. Except for when the Lions lose to Atlanta, which I'm still pissed about. I don't know this impacts much, so I'd get rid of this whole runoff other than what it was actually meant for in the first place.
Yeah, I see why the NFL implemented it, but I would be for the same thing. 10 seconds to 5 seconds. We all have seen hurry up offenses where they get plays off in 3-4 seconds. And they must be just going to NFL. I think just took the average of 10 seconds or something like that. But I'm with him on that as well.
Yeah, exactly. He's got here no rehuddling or substituting after dead ball fouls. Ref respots the ball and blows the whistle so play starts quickly. Speed up the game.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. That's one of those things let your quarterback audible if you think the defense did it or whatever so they could get advantage of seeing what you're lined up as. Fine, have your quarterback smart enough to call another play as opposed to looking at the sideline gawking at the coaches because that's all they've been trained since high school and college is have the coach make every call. Whatever, have your quarterback learn how to call a play once in a while.
All right, that's a bell for a Grifka whatever. And a shout out again to @PaulMJackson9. You see what happens when you send questions or cool stuff to the Detroit Koolaid Cast? You got tons of shout outs. We read all your stuff. And I even gave him a Grifka bell. You agreed with him, but I gave a bell to you from him. So you see how that's transferring now, Grifka? Paul Jackson is belling you. In certain ways. So this is turning out great. He has here add Friday after Thanksgiving games. Everyone is off work and there's no college football. So he wants after the Lions and Cowboys to have maybe NFL football on Friday. I kind of think, keep that tradition and just give us a couple days to get out of the turkey food coma and catch football again on Sundays.
Yeah, there's college football on Fridays. There's a lot of games on Fridays. So, yeah, I'm with you. Just Thanksgiving and then Sunday's good.
Yeah. He has here, since most high schools playoff games are played on Saturdays, not Friday nights, have a Friday night doubleheader when high school playoffs start. So like a Friday night NFL double dip.
I don't know how long that would, if they were to do that, how it would feel almost, It's just like, it just always seems like certain days are meant for certain times, types of football. Fridays, high school; Saturdays, college; and Sundays, pro. And I realize when the college football season ends before the bowl games, the pros do take over the last couple of Saturdays of the season. So, no, I wouldn't like this one.
Yeah, rarity on the show. I agree with Grifka. I think it's Friday, high school, like you said, college and pro. And it's really hard to divvy up the NFL even more than it already is, just because these guys got to recover and all that type of stuff. So last one, big ending here. Let's see if he's got a good one. It says, teams, oh my goodness, I mean, just what I'm seeing here. Teams could trade salary cap space for a draft pick or picks. Let me see. He says, for example, the Colts can't figure out what to do with $100 million in cap space. And instead of wasting it by signing a bunch of mid-level people, I guess he's saying like buy draft picks, and other people could sell picks for money. Oh my, that's right up my alley, Grifko. Wheeling and dealing, draft, salary cap. I mean, I started to read it and think this guy's crazy, and then part of me is like, oh man, if you could buy some draft picks, I might be all about it.
Wow, that's kind of cool. I like that one. How amazing would that be?
What do you think our number 8
under the cap? Okay, we're gonna buy the first 4 picks of the draft with that.
I was gonna say, what would our number 8 be worth? Let's put the auction off now. Let's put it on eBay or something and see what we can get for it.
How sweet would that be? That would be cool.
Oh man, adds a whole new element too to like managing your cap, because like, yeah, you can have your cap full in players, but if a team has a ton of money, they start like wielding power with money by buying picks and then like monopolizing the draft. I mean, you would think like, oh, we don't want that, it needs to be even, but it would still sort of be even because everybody else would have their players and spent money, and this team didn't spend money, and so they bought it. It's almost like on an MLB team, like sells a guy for cash, right? It'd be the same concept, only in football. It's crazy. Grifka, hello? Nothing?
I'm still here. I had nothing on top of that. So yeah, I mean.
All right. Well, Paul, we just want to say thank you, man. It was fun to run through. I've read a couple of those, but I didn't like go through them all. It was fun to do it on the show. So like you say, normally we want to get in a few questions and different things, have some fun, but rumbling through all 14 of those was interesting. And I think you got some good ideas, some things that are, interesting concepts, some things that maybe could work in the future, and some things that just won't work conceptually or the NFL wouldn't go for, but appreciate it, man. That was awesome. So Grifka, we've talked about a lot today. Another good show, man. Talking Lions, talking all types of stuff. I had to bell you quite a bunch, but like I say, you had some good takes as well. The big thing everybody wants to know, Grifka, this is what I get on Twitter. This is what I get all day, every day. Grifka, you got anything else for the Detroit Koolaid drinkers?
Nope.
All right. Well, thank you so much, everybody. Keep showing us that love on Twitter. We'd love some more reviews on iTunes. Takes less than a minute. Just jump on there. Hopefully give us a 5-star. Give us some feedback. We'd love that. And the biggest thing is just sharing this with a friend or telling a Lions fan, hey, you might want to check out these two guys. They're just two Lions fans talking football. Pretty good stuff. So we really appreciate all the support and love. And we'll be right back here on Friday morning for the Detroit Koolaid Cast, talking all things Detroit Lions. Take care, everybody. We're out.
Pack the bag, start the plane. This game is over. It is over. What a comeback by the Lions. Drink it in, man.